All right. So we had a very informative budget mastermind with a couple people on it that's hopping on this. Now we got the leadership one, and just a quick poll, quick update. I think Jay, obviously you guys were on the last one last month, and can do you remember your action item and like where you're at and like an update and everything of all that you could share?
I remember part of it. I got a little bit of a head cold going on right now, but we are, what we said we wanted to do is have the senior event at the church was a big thing. And
Yep.
that is scheduled for April. It was perfect timing. I thought of it a while ago that because when we go to church, there's so many seniors in there and there's hundreds and hundreds of them. So I kept saying it. And then when Lisa called the church and talked to the priest, he said, this was just on my mind. I was wanting to do this. I think it's such a great idea. So the priest and Lisa and everybody are structuring it for April. And then the other one was our subdivision is celebrating its 20th anniversary. We built our home. It'll be 20 years in September, I think it is. And Lisa threw it out to all the officers. There's a HOA that's really not operating, but there's still figureheads there. So she, and we know everybody for over 20 years. So that's going to happen in August. We're going to do a 20-year subdivision party. So the only thing I haven't done, and I was going to do it, time keeps it that there's not enough hours in every day, it seems like, but I wanted to start my own farm. James and I are going to have a farm that the boundaries border each other, which would be 92nd Street from West Allison to Milwaukee. But he's got his all set up, and I'll have mine set up, not today, probably, but by tomorrow. So those are the three things that I had on the plate, was the setting up the farm, the senior event, the subdivision thing, and we're moving on them.
That's all you got going on? What do you do all week?
And 1,200 home show tickets and 2,000 brewer schedules for myself. That's not the whole team.
Yeah, I know.
So
I was joking, but
that's the boxes of the home show tickets and all those things. And I had the Landmark Credit Union first time home buyer seminar this past Saturday. There were supposed to be 15 people. It turned out to be 4 couples, 3 married and 1 not, but not that it matters. But all 4 shared their information. I put them in my database, and hopefully going to be working with them soon.
just real quick, how big is the farm? Do you know how many houses?
I'm going to keep it 700. 700
Okay.
houses.
Nice. Sweet. So yeah, you've taken some action. So towards the end of this, we're gonna again, you don't have to, but like part of this is I want to have like a pulse. I want this to live a little more, and I want there to be more accountability as a group, so we don't have to pay for each other, right? We're all in this together, like free help, free accountability. So what we do is we start by sharing what we got done. You know, if you want to do this monthly, it's really nice to have that pulse. So you start with what you got done in the last month, and then at the end we'll share like what you want to focus on for this month, and then we have a mid-month check-in, and then we also respond with like, what are you guys looking at getting out of this, like what questions you have. So like just to continue to make this live a little. Next month I do want to have it in person, like we did that one time at the ale house. Like my thought is 2 months, like the first and second month of the quarter, we do like a quick, like quick power mastermind where we're just like sharpening the saw a little. We've got that accountability. And then once a quarter, we would come together, we would like meet in person, we would make it longer, maybe probably have lunch, just make it more of like a event was my thought. So March, it would be like that, the month is almost, or the quarter's almost over. How'd the quarter go? What's your quarter goals next year? Like, it's just more, it would be more involved. So hopefully you guys like that. Zach, do you remember what your goal was at the end of last one? Like what you were looking at doing?
I believe I said something about looking for another team member for the group. And I think we did that pretty well.
Yeah. So grow into the level they can support. The ops staff can handle hiring more agents. You were prospecting for talent.
Yeah.
So I think everyone knows, but like, just share what happened.
Okay. Well, so just to go through the timeline here, about a month ago, Jeff, Lisa's Packard's buyer agent, left the business. He got some other job, kind of left Lisa high and dry. They're still on good terms, but now she was like, because all she wants to do is take listings. She wants to be able to leverage out the buyer part. Yoli's a showing partner, but it's also like, that means you're still writing contracts, you're still writing, just really still doing everything. And so I just kind of like raised my hand and said like, hey, if you need any help with something, like, Don and I are here for you. And that conversation just kind of evolved over like the next like 2 weeks into like, well, what if we just helped her with everything? Because she was kind of dreading the KPA process, going through that again. One of the great things about Lisa is that she is she's very mindful of the model and by the book and meticulous in everything she does, but also means that, unfortunately, that for something like this, a big decision like hiring and finding somebody goes slower than it does for someone like me who can make a decision like on the spot. So to her credit, she made a decision on the spot to let us take care of all of her operation stuff. We're still like in the early, like kind of like growing pains type stuff, because this literally just happened Monday. She made the decision last week and we signed a team agreement like Sunday. That was it. And so also for that matter, we're still operations heavy because part of the deal was we had to take Yoli too. Not that we wouldn't have, but so now we have 3 admin and 4 agents. So the pain point here for the next like month or so is just going to be like really defining roles. But this is already giving me a buyer to start helping like today. So she's like ready to. She's not wasting any time. She's leveraging everything as much as she can right away. And our conversations with some other agents is still continuing. So I've talked to a couple of people from outside of KW. Dawn is doing career visioning with one of the agents that's currently at our office, and kind of told her that like this is going to go a little slower than it probably would have normally, because she wants to give Lisa enough attention to do this. So we're not done. I guess is the best way to say it. So it's like if we hadn't caught such a big fish, we probably would be done. Like we would have just brought on like one agent, but instead, like we brought on somebody that's actually going to generate enough business that will necessitate another buyer agent.
Yeah. Wow. So I have a lot of follow-up questions here. So like, because I think one, when we look into this market, this is going to happen so much. This is going to be so common where either the, like the $1 to $3 million agent, they may be just wanting to get out of the business. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be people that have been in the business for a long time that are just like, screw this. I hate the leadership piece. I hate making my own decisions. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to get out. Well, now instead of being like an entrepreneur, they're an intrapreneur. Like they could run their business, their people, focus on that within an organization and not have to worry about all the other stuff. It's going to be very, very appealing, like a merger or joining teams. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing this nationally. There's like 50-60 million dollar teams, and they'll join like another team. And like, it's just like, it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how small you are, like this, between people getting out of the business and people joining teams and merging, those are the two things that are going to be super like happening a ton. So if you take advantage of like the market of the moment, the lead gen of the moment, like there probably is no better way to get an influx of business to your team than what you're doing.
I think that the important part of this is that there was already like a fair amount of trust and respect that started it. Lisa, like, and this is not to disrespect anybody else in this office, but Lisa probably wouldn't have joined any other group. But like, we already have like a really good relationship with her, and we're also small enough, not anymore, but like, but small enough that like, when she has a strong opinion about something, she doesn't have to like try to overrule a CEO, you know. Just to use an example, like if she were to join Lifetime, you know, if she had a real strong opinion about it, you and Jeremy disagreed. Like you're the CEOs, you're the leaders of the group. You wouldn't have that kind of say. But like with she and Dawn, even though she's in the org chart, she's just the listing specialist. Realistically, she's still going to have like a huge say in how we do things, what we do. She's bringing a lot to the table for us to make us better agents too, because she is more tenured and you know, again, just being honest here, does more business than we do. She sold more units than we did last year, and so that's just her goal, is to sell units. Her goal was not to grow talent and build a big machine. She just wants to be able to like do her job and then have free time at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the more clear you can be with your value proposition, the better. So like if you're not clear on it and you don't know exactly what you're looking for, what my coach says is, yeah. Yeah. So what my coach relates this to is, he says it would be cool if real estate was similar to football, where like everyone had to play within the same rules. There is 100 yards, you know, you got 4 downs, like whatever. But in real estate, you could sell 100 million in volume with 6 people on your team. You could sell 100 million in volume with 27 people on your team. Like there's no rule, but the clearer you are of like, hey, I want a wide receiver that's 6'4" that runs a whatever 9.8 40, that doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. That's like, when they're out searching for talent in sports, it's a very specific, clear understanding of what they have. Now, what you guys were willing to offer is someone like Lisa, who sells more houses than you, or sold more houses than you last year. She was very clear that she didn't want to deal with all the other stuff, especially she had 2 buyer agents leave her in like 2 years. She was building it right, but she just got to the point where you guys were very clear of like, hey, actually what you want to do, you can fit right into my world. But if she didn't know that, she'd just be like out kind of wandering around hoping like, God, I wish I didn't have to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
The value prop right now more than ever is just going to be so important. And you're making like my freaking gears spin on what I'm thinking of too with this, but that's awesome. So now the question would be, how big are you going to get? Like, what is your, because yeah, if you're just like, hey, we're not done, what does not done mean?
Well, not done means that there's another at least one other agent that we'll bring on. And again, it's some of this is to be able to fulfill goals that we have presently, and some of this again is got to justify the hires that we have. We were opt heavy last month, now we're even heavier. So because we have I would say an advantage of what we have presently is that like Tim, Billy, Robbie all do certain things that they're all specialized in different things. They can all do each other's jobs, so they're all specialized in certain things. So the roles are going to be more well defined, you know, in the next month and so on, as they kind of fall into jobs. And so they're going to get better at that, and it's going to give us more time overall to just do that the lead gen and client care at a really high level. Something worth coming back to about like you building it is the idea being that we have that whatever the people on our team's hopes and dreams are, they fit in with what we're able to offer them. You know, our goal has to encompass their goal. No matter how big it is, our goal has to get bigger to encompass theirs. So when Lisa, because she's who she is, you know, presented Dawn with a spreadsheet for like, this is how much money I want to make, and based on what you told me, this is what I'd have to do in order to do it. We offered her a path to get there, and that was the thing that kind of made it obvious for her. This would not work with, I think, the vast majority of like agents and team leaders. Lisa was, to be frank, you know, she's not somebody who has a huge ego. She doesn't need to have her name on the sign. She canceled her Google Voice number today. You know? So she's like literally like, no, I'm not taking these calls anymore.
How freaking though amazing does that sound? Like,
yeah.
The moment I stopped taking Zillow calls and those calls, like I literally felt like just free. Like I said this before, but I had freaking phantom vibration rings in my pocket. Like even when my phone wasn't in there, like, oh my God, it's like, no, I'm not delivering babies. It's not that important. But that feeling of just like constantly being on, even if no one's calling, you're thinking, you're like, oh my God. So that alone, that's worth like $100,000 a year. I don't know. That's worth a lot of money. Okay. So I guess what I would have you look now of like what your org chart is, who is what. And then I always said, I mean, Lisa was like the golden child of this, was print off the level of org chart you want to get to. You know, there's 7 levels, print out the one you get to, hang it on your wall. Where do you want to end up in 3 years? Like what level?
I think this puts us at like a level 4 team now.
Oh, you're like
or 5. I can't remember.
Yeah, you're at least 5. We should sit down and like you should like get really clear on this, because if you're not super clear on this part, you might just start adding to add, and like who knows what happens. But like this is the moment now. It's like necessity where it's like you got to be crystal clear.
I know for myself, my role in the team will turn into more of just director of lead gen. I will be in the office making calls, sending letters, emails, etc. Just focusing specifically on lead gen, and then doling this out. Listing leads will go to Lisa, buyer leads will go to Chelsea, other buyer leads will go to this person, and keeping everything, like keeping keeping everybody busy essentially. We're not there yet. That's what my future looks like, is just doing the lead gen piece. So there's more leverage yet for the agents on our team if I do that. I won't do their like care calls or DTD2 calls for them, but at the very least I can make sure that they've always got something to say, or their or the emails and everything else are staying on top of everything. I do things like check the hot sheets or whatever, like all this stuff to just kind of keep everybody busy. That's
Dawn, like, is Dawn CEO then? Like yes. What? Okay.
Yeah.
Did she make you call her CEO like when you're at like church or like making dinner or anything?
I mean, just to take the page right out of rocket fuel, like we figured really quickly that she's the integrator and I'm the visionary. So I will have a very structured morning of lead gen, but then the afternoons will probably be a little bit more of like, of going on appointments and continuing to network with people and you film stupid videos and just bounce a tennis ball against the wall while I think of the next great idea to bring our team to the next level.
Cool. Like Steve Jobs, you got to wear all black. I hope she fires you one day. I hope you like aren't performing and she's just like, you're fired. It'd be funny to me.
My goal is to outgrow the team for sure. Yeah. I mean, for my personal goal. Yeah.
So I want to share this quick. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but your conversation sparked this back in me. I put a lot of thought into our value prop. So you can't see at the top, but okay, you can. So there's our logo value proposition. Keller Williams had this concept when you think of value of the 5 pillars of value. And this is a great refresher. Lynn, this is great for like focus. It's just really good business to know. You want to know what your value prop is to your clients, like why they would work with you. But this is the leadership mastermind. You want to know what kind of people you want to attract, why would someone be in there. And so what we did is personality is like the lowest value of the 5, which means like personality is amazing. Your reputation, like, so everything under personality, I wrote also like how much it costs us. So like all of this under this pillar are free, like the vision of the team, the opportunity that you get, our reputation, our stats in the state, our sales, our brand, our energy, we're a culture of abundance. We have 75 years of experience. I'm a connector, and it's just like instant validity with clients. So if you join Lifetime Realty Group, you get that right away. It doesn't cost us anything, but that's part of the personality pillar. And what they're finding as they're studying value props, like they're studying P&Ls and like they're studying the models that made the millionaire real estate agent. They broke it down into this. Personality is not enough for someone to stay with you. Like, right? It's awesome. It's awesome to be, but it's never going to keep someone. If there is a better opportunity with some of these higher pillars of value, they will leave you. So then the second pillar is training. Like, what do? We give an education credit. There's 2 conventions a year. We do a lot with time management. We can't say script anymore. Conversation practice, weekly team meetings, group coaching, whatever. Like, this costs us 21 grand, right? Is this making sense? And now as I go, so training is a commodity now. Like, you can get training from Keller Williams, you can get training from Jeff Glover, you can get training from Bigger Pockets, like wherever. Training is a complete commodity. Now the level of training is like that's like the debate, like what training's the best. But like, people aren't going to stay with you for personality and training if that's all you offer. So then there's support, and support is like, this is $277,000 a year that we spend on support staff. We have, the people on our team. If you join a team, make sure you let them know about the cap reduction. We have a Discord thread. So any question, like, I won't go into all these, but like, I can share this document with you. This is all the things that happen under support. And support is great, but it's also easier and easier to leverage. Like, you could do focus title transaction management. You could hire graphic design. Like, there's just ways of getting support. So these 3 won't keep people on your team if that's all you offer. Then you get into leads. And then the highest pillar is appointments. So like, if you have just like pre-screened appointments that you hand out to people, you will have people lining out your door to join your team, and they will not leave your team ever. So if you could make your value like pieces of this business, that's when you're really, really going to retain and you're going to grow. So when you look at Lisa, like, she's a little bit of an anomaly because she doesn't need this or want this. She wants this. She wants this pillar. But if you show this to someone, and I don't know, like, let's just say that a talent appointment, and you get really clear, it's like, okay, this is what you want, Lisa. Okay, like this is what we offer, in this area. Like we'll print off your listing packets for you. We have a listing manager. So they help pull your CMA. Once you go to the listing, they'll go back, they'll measure it, they'll take care of the photo appointment, they'll take care of the staging appointment, they'll organize this. Once you get the transaction accepted, we have a transaction manager. They negotiate inspection for you, they negotiate any appraisal issues, they coordinate inspection, appraisal, they coordinate everything. Your job is to just be a rock star to the client. Like, wow, yes, where do I sign up? So I would encourage to get like super clear, or have this document, and this is the time to lead gen for talent. Any deal you do, ask them when do you plan on taking your last listing? Why not just make that a part, like when you get an accepted offer, or when someone calls you on a listing, like, hey, just curious, when do you plan on taking your last listing? Or have you ever thought about when you're going to exit the business? You might be surprised of like, God, I want to take my last listing 2 years ago. Oh, what's preventing you? Like, what's stopping you? You could like have these conversations pretty organically. Any thoughts on the value prop, or does anyone have something similar that they have in writing that they share with people?
I know Dawn has a value prop that she prints out. I like the way yours is, like, it's very visual and with the dollar amount attached to it. That's I think it's not going to, I don't think it would seal the deal with the prospect, but it would definitely get them to look at a lot easier than just like the wall of text that I have right now on our letterhead. If it's like indented paragraphs is not as attractive as like here's everything tiered up. So I like the graphical orientation of it, just because it's very eye catching, and you're probably just going to get people to look at it more closely.
Yeah, and it, you never, like, I was kind of like selling, like throwing up on you guys. The goal would be like, what's most important to you? And if you were with Lisa and she'd be like, oh my God, this support circle, like, okay, so you don't have to like share everything. She probably doesn't care about like 80% of it, but then you hone in just like you would with a client. If you're listing a home, you don't throw up Keller Williams, you don't throw up like why you're so great. You just focus on what they want and their questions and their motivation.
Let me add to that, Scott. What I found really nice on that is if you really look, if somebody's on the outside looking at that, it conveys like the culture of you, if it's just you, or the culture of your team. As I remember, I saw things like, New Berlin Police Department and all these things in the community. And let's be honest, there's some agents like, I don't got kids, I hate the police, like the list goes on. They're like, there's no value there. And obviously you're already not a culture fit. So you probably shouldn't even like apply to be on this team. So culture comes through in that value proposition, however you convey it. Just if you do so in a clear and concise manner, if that makes sense.
Yep.
That's why I learned.
And wouldn't you want to know, like, if they're a culture fit before they join your team?
Yeah.
One thing that, I'm a huge proponent of career visioning. I think everyone knows that, like, you're not going to get on the team without it. You're, like, I know it. I've taken it 5 times. I've taught it like 30 times. And there is a step before it that I haven't done. And it would just be simply like, especially if they're an agent in the office, or if they're an agent in the business, invite them to like, hey, like there's a Bull 100 day or something. Like before you even start talking about joining your team or career visioning, just be like, hey, come to this Bull 100. And, did they show up? Okay, they showed up. How do they sound on the phone? Did they grind? Did they commit to it? Like, did they have excuses? Like, do these little tests and things where you're getting to know them, or you're making them pass tests before you even start that screening process. Because as good as career visioning is, you could still BS a little. And Vanessa can probably hear me, she's next door, but like when I was hiring Vanessa, she's an ISA, I never made her make phone calls before I hired her. Like that's pretty freaking risky. Like I think I should have been like, hey, you're interested in this role, like here's what you say, like go make some phone calls, let me hear you on the phone. Like that should be almost like the first thing you do before you waste 10 hours in career visioning. Because what if career visioning goes like, we're in la la land, cupcakes and rainbows, like I know the motivation, perfect match, and then it's like day one comes and she's like, oh, I'm scared to make phone calls. So I just would encourage you, as we're doing this, you create a culture of productivity on your team, and then you see how people show up, and it's like that someone turns your head consistently, and then you say, hey, I want to like sit down with you, I want to do career visioning. And my coach is on me all the time about this. He's like, who are you attracting? Who's on your bench? Like, who are you scouting? And it's like, well, I'm not really, like, it's not a focus of mine. Like, we haven't added anyone in a while, like, but we want to. And seeing Zach do it, like, made my freaking thirst and radar go way up of like a quality agent like that. My
say
job,
It has
go ahead.
emboldened me to like have conversations with people who I thought were out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I never know now. And then it also gives me an intro to say like, hey, here's an agent that like by all rights I should be working for her, but we've got better systems, and so it makes more sense for her to work for us.
Hey, Zach, do you want to be our director of sales, and Dawn can be our director of lead gen, and then we'll make space for everyone. No, you're the director of lead gen. Dawn can be our CEO.
I'll say nothing's impossible except dinosaurs.
I'll go seventh level. Dawn will be the CEO. We'll kick Jeremy out, and then it's perfect. Okay. So my focus was on my investor seminar and calling people, getting them to attend. So quick update. I had the seminar planned in January. I think at this time I already rescheduled it because the first time there was like 2 people RSVP'd. I was at Glover, like I didn't make time for calls. Like, just a heads up, if you're going to do a seminar, people aren't going to come from like Facebook posts and like a mass email. Like, it's going to take some hustle. So I rescheduled it for the 7th. We got about 25 people there. We did it at City Lights Brewing, and it's my second one now. So it wasn't perfect. It wasn't even close, but it was way better than my first one. And I'm starting, like, my main focus on that is to build a community with my past clients. That I don't know if you've seen the slide in the MREA, but it's like our millionaire real estate investor. There's a millionaire real estate investor network, and it's got like 4 circles, and in the circles is like all the people that are in that network. And there's the inner circle, which should be like your coach mentor. It would be, like the main people. Then there's the support circle, and in there's like your lender, your lawyer, your hard money, like all those people. And then the outer circle is like the service, which would be your plumber, your electrician, your GC, like, you know what I mean? And you're building out this network, this community. That's my main goal. Like, that's my main goal of the year, because we have 2,100 sales. We know a crap load of people. What I want to do is to be able to provide a network for my past clients, our past clients, that they don't know the plumbers, the GCs, the flippers, the hard money. They don't know those people, but I do. So that's my main focus of this, is to say, you're interested in investing, but there's something probably holding you. There's something holding you back. Otherwise, you do it. And like, here's more of an easy button. Like, A, what do you want to focus on? And then B, who do you need to know? And let me like be your leverage, because it would be really awesome to have 40 people buying a house every year, you know, as like a baseline. And so that's just like I'm thinking, how can I have the most effect on leads? You know, you could get to know a builder, you could get to know like a divorce attorney. If you want to get like 10, 20, 30 leads a year, my goal for this investor seminars, I'm doing them every other month, is I can create like a community, and maybe we start having our own masterminds. We have our own thing, but we get these people that want to buy a home like every year or every other year. And it's just like a massive way of like constant leads and closings. So I can make it rain for like the buyer's agents and the listing agents, and everyone's happy. So I did that. I must say that was my main focus. I did it, felt great. When we look at this market, think to yourself, what can you do that's going to have the most impact? You know, it's because our job is not just going and finding people like for us to buy and sell. It's like Zach has a big job now. We all have big jobs of like making everyone busy. And that's scary and it's draining, but it's also really exciting. I have one other thing I want to share, but before I do, does, you know, CJ or Lynn or Angelique, do you guys have any update or question or struggle or win to share? Like, casual observer, just let me know. We want to as much participation as possible, but we don't force.
I can just say, like, for me, I have been trying to be a little more present on some of these Zoom calls, not necessarily because I feel like I have a lot to give, but it's given me a lot of ideas and just some different ways of thinking. I think it was you, Scott, in one of your terms, your question was, who are you scouting? I've like written that down. Like, it's just given me some really good different ways of thinking, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
that's awesome. And I mean, Focus is a huge organization. Focus was a startup. It's grown faster than Keller Williams, I think, even. I mean, you're in charge of a lot of people. You've hired a lot of people. People have left, you know, life happens. Like, so you're in this as much as any of us, if not more.
Well, and I've always said, your guys' success is my success. So in everything that I do, I'm always trying to be mindful of what can I do to put you guys into the next level. Like, I can't even explain how proud I am to see the Shipleys and how much that team has grown. Like, I'm so proud of you guys. That's amazing. So it's neat to be on the other side of this and watch you guys grow, all of you, you know, every team, every individual agent. There's definitely a lot to be proud of that way.
Yeah. I love it too. It's like, I feel like when they're like, when Angelique just was not, she was just installed as the now rep president, you know, and it's so cool. It's not like, you know, children, but there's like a feeling of like proudness, like a dad, you know, like, I don't know what the feeling is, but it's definitely cool. And like seeing Jay and James, like they are just, and Lisa, but they're just like so committed to like, when they get an idea or when they get something, they are just like a dog on a bone. Like they are not going to give up until they get it done. And then it's like, James will come in here just randomly. He'd be like, just call for 2 hours. I'm bulletproof, baby. I'm on this. And it's like, yeah, like, I don't know. It's just cool to like feel that energy. When someone else is doing it, it's like, oh shit, like, I guess I got to do it too. CJ, how is things in up north?
Thank you. Pretty good, actually. It's really good. Lots of changes. Last time that we met, I was on quite the mission to hire an executive assistant. And then in doing so, things became more clear where what I was putting together and looking to hire was not like, it was like super like blah, like this is the role. And it wasn't like personality, and it wasn't what I need. That's like for me and my biggest pains. So it provided clarity. What I mean by that is all of a sudden I was like, man, I don't need somebody that goes and makes all these creative marketing pieces and does all this stuff and has a skill or talent because it's already there. It's literally take a picture out, put a new picture in, keep what I created, which looks amazing. I'm always open to feedback though, and make it more amazing. So it helped me identify my biggest pains, and then and right now, because Team CJ was at a plateau where I myself was getting no time, seemed like I had less time, and there was nobody growing. There was no more units being produced in sales or anything at all, and so something had to give. Not sustainable. So recently now, Team CJ is CJ, the realtor. And in prioritizing things, I realized that my biggest need and problem that was consuming the time that I kind of got back, but I also was sucking most of my life, simply TC work. So got that already figured out, contracting for TC work, which is now giving me more time. And then ironically, like, I think I took like, now I'm because I got busy with TC work, took four listings in a week. And then I put another 4 to contract with buyers. I was like, shit, if I could do this every week, that'd be awesome. But then I got busy with
If you sell
TC
8
work.
homes a week, you're gonna be doing all right.
Yeah. So again, it just and I should, because I think that it got all, I should know what the hell I'm doing by now, but it just prioritized, like, I don't need to put so much time and effort into like this awesome executive assistant, because like the 40 hours I just spent on it, could have already had a transaction coordinator take care of this, and you know what I mean? Like, I got that time back. So yeah, I got that solved. So now I am now able to have more time, which allowed thinking time to prioritize things and clean up things and really reset my sights on what it is that I want, which then, as you should always be looking for talent. People heard what changes happen dramatically, and then what was really interesting is those that are hungry, that I enjoy being with, agents specifically, they came up to me like, hey, I know you got buyers. I know you're going to have homes to show. And I know you do not like showing houses. I'm like, great. So now we already have I call it like an intern apprentice, utilizing that whole showing assistant model rather than just paying per showing. And, if one of those 4 really start to shine because they're newer in the business, they don't have the book of business, and if they really start to shine, well, guess what? They might just fit that role. I already know how they behave. I already know how they perform, right? As you said, come with us on call night. Let me hear you make some calls. I already know how they handle buyers. So I'm just going to ease into that, leverage that off, and focus on helping somebody take care of everything backstage for me then. So that way I can go and find, 4 listings every week.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, clarity is amazing. B, when you look at the levels of the org levels, and as familiar as you can be with them, the better. But like, you're the most, by far the most profitable and by far the least stressful is
And I
that
have a lot
level
of expensive
14,
habits. Yeah.
where you got the TC, the EA, and the showing partner. Like a team of 4, you're only giving away 15% cost of sale. You're probably giving away like a cut, per transaction to the TC, but like your expenses are low. Your BS that you have to deal with is low. And I mean, there's no reason you can't sell 100 homes with a showing partner, a TC, and an admin.
Thank you. I agree.
And you sell 100 homes with having a life. Jeremy sold 100 homes in a year, 2 years in a row. I sold 73 was my most without an admin, and that there was no life. It was terrible. but can you
What-
share, and if you don't want to, that's fine, but like,
I'll tell you.
how did it go down with Alex?
I was just totally transparent. We've always been transparent. Said, dude, you gotta get out of this admin role because you're way more successful in sales. And I've been trying to push them to sales. However, you know, it's just like when you try to tell your kids how to do something forever and they don't ever do it. And then all of a sudden somebody else says it's a good idea. It's like, oh yeah, that is a great idea. Poof. And so actually I'm actually I am very happy that Alex is going full blown sales. Even though it's not my team, because it did invest a lot of time into him, but he's gonna be very successful. And then now it's opened me up to find somebody who is that rock star in admin role, rather than pushing them out for months. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. So it's just an honest, always respectful conversations that we've always had. And at the end, I just want what's best for him, and it was a win-win. What's best for you is gonna benefit me. So yeah. So that was good.
Lesson in there that I heard from Lisa directly or indirectly through Zach, and then you, and then just in the past, I know we've all had hires that haven't worked out, but like sometimes like maybe the best blessing of Lisa's life was that Jeff had to get out of the business. You know, this would have never happened if he was still here. At least today, you know, it would have happened maybe in the future, but sometimes like that addition by subtraction is very powerful, and what's needed is, as much as it sucks in the moment, looking at the positive view once you digest it.
Yeah. One thing, Scott, that I was just thinking back to when Zach was sharing, and this is from experience, learning from your mistakes, right? So when you give your value proposition, we'll say to the showing partner, assistant, buyer's agent, like, this is what you can expect to me, I guess is what I would suggest to make clear to that person. Meaning, you know, if say if you average 25 buyers a year, hey, you're going to take all 25 buyers. If you promise them that, give them that. Don't go and find another person to add to the team to take a piece of that 25 buyers. So make sure that it's clear in expectations. And then of course, we're all driven by money. You got to attach what that dollar amount looks like. And is that enough leads for you to close and make what you want? If not, okay, well then how many of your own leads do you have to find and service? How many listings do you have to provide to the team? And then economically, does that work out? Because everybody's happier when you're making money.
Yeah. Okay.
I
That's
go
awesome.
too wide, too fast is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I just one update here as we end this is I have gotten coaching for Katie G as well. And so my coach is Craig Zuber and his wife is Nicole Zuber, and they're both executive maps coaches, which is funny. And she's more like operations and he's more sales. So we hired Nicole to coach Katie G, and I'm on those calls with her. And I took over our director of sales. Like if you gave me a role right now, my role is director of sales. So she's coaching me and Katie at the same time. But my director of sales ability has gone through the roof in terms of what it was. So my goal last year was to hire a director of sales, and it was to hire a director of lead gen. And our coach is like, you're an idiot. Like, go sell 300 homes first and then think about a director of sales, director of lead gen. Like, you guys will be the most leveraged team on earth, you know? So I took over director of sales. Jeremy took over director of lead gen, and we got really good clarity around that. But, you know, when there is a definite skill around a 411 with a sales agent. There's a difference between a 411 with like an operations role and a sales role. Operations, they're getting paid, like it's a job, they're W-2. It's probably right up their alley, like they like it. A sales agent, chances are they're a renegade, they're just like a smoking gun. Like they may not think it's a value. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it's been really, really fun, and what's the word I'm thinking of? Like I've learned a ton on a pulse and like how to coach and ask questions to an agent. And the biggest focus that we've had is really, really inspecting the pipeline. And what I mean by the pipeline, we have it in command, and it'll be like, we have our pipeline set like 10, 9, 8. So a 10 would be listing this month, a 9 would be listing next month, and an 8 would be in like 2 months. And then whatever, we have more. But like I go in there, and the expectation is that when they reach out to them, they type in the notes into that opportunity. So I can see the running log, we can talk. And I'll just give an example with like Jackie, our listing agent. When I went through these pipelines, every single person but one, it's like, hey, where are you at with this person? When are they going to list? You just asking those questions. Every single person but one, she said they're waiting till spring. And so I'm like, I just say like, well, what's important about spring? Because you could say, well, go call them and tell them now is the time to sell. But I say like, what's important about the spring, or what's causing them to wait? And they all had separate reasons in essence. But like, I don't know if you guys has looked at the MLS lately. If you just go at MLS and look in like Elm Grove from like up to $1 million, tell me how many homes are available. There's probably one. If you look in New Berlin, there's probably like 3, like if you have someone on the fence in those cities, you could say, hey, I was studying the market today, and I noticed there's one home for sale in your whole city. If you I know you wanted to wait until April, but if you put it on right now, they would be like piranhas, like attacking, the buyers would be like piranhas attacking your listing. Like, this is the time right now, like something of that nature. So what I did is I gave a very specific, like, what are you going to say to this person? And there was 6 of them. So then the next week I start and I say, okay, tell me how this conversation went. Tell me how this conversation went. And it's just been so like amazing for me to know the clients at that level, because I'm not in it. And Zach, you'll feel this too. But B, the other thing was the difference between an objection and a condition. So one person out of the 7, they were waiting to get divorced. Well, that's not an objection, that's a condition. So knowing the difference between the two, I want to wait till spring. Why? Because my house will show better. That's an objection. I want to wait till spring. Why? Well, I can't sell my house till I'm divorced or whatever. Like, okay, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Knowing the difference between objection and condition. But and I can go on and on a little bit around like what I learned with Kyle. Like, Kyle was very skill based, it's very confidence based. It's how he's like sharing information. It's saying it is one thing, but how you say it. So just being super specific with these action items and like diving in has made me learn so much about our clients and our business, and giving them like specific things to reach out to. Mark's got to reach out to everyone in his nurture. There's 15 of them. Kyle's doing it for this, Jackie, Jen. And we've never done anything like this. As stupid as that sounds, I'm excited for where this will bring, after some consistency. So I don't know what your guys's one-on-ones are like, but there's a lot of magic that can be had. Before, it was very much like a lot around the personal, a lot of this. I get right into business like right away. I'm like, okay, what was your action item? How did it go? And it's just like really purposeful time. I'm loving being a director of sales. Long-winded, but also like, I don't think there's anything more important I could do between director of sales and then getting them leads. Like, I know my role right now is very clear, those two things. So as we wrap up, can we rapid fire? Do you guys know what is your main focus for this next month?
Training. Getting the
Lead
team up to
gen.
speed.
What was that, Zach?
Just like getting the team up to speed, just like making sure we're all on the same page.
So like an onboarding or like
Yeah.
a good like 30, 60, 90. And then I would say
Mhm.
too, just like really knowing what your structure is and where it's going.
Mhm.
All
We-
right.
We have a clear idea of like what the structure is and what we want to do. Like every day, like there's a notepad that just gets more and more items added to it. It's like, okay, I gotta figure out what this is. Oh, we have to do this now. You know, who are Lisa's preferred vendors? Who are ours? It's like all these little things you don't think about when you're just having the interview. And now it suddenly becomes a thing. Like, well, who do we refer this to? You know? So
Yeah, you got a lot of I
good
mean,
problems to have, but they are still things you have to do.
Yep. Okay. So Angelique, lead gen. Like, how do you know if you won? What's your metric? What's your
So, one of my lenders is actually, helping me purchase some leads from, Zillow. So it's a new system that we're going to be using. So I'm anxious to get that up and running. I've been doing a lot of, cold calling to my database. But nothing's really been hitting. And I've been using a couple other lead gen sources like Ojo. A lot of those leads, what I found out, are recycled leads, and they're leads that are also being worked by other agents. And I discovered that by going into their system to follow up on an agent and on a buyer, and realize that another agent had notes on the follow-up they were doing with them. So this buyer's been working with two agents. So that's not something that, I really don't want to be, duplicating efforts and working with someone who's already working with another agent. It's just not worth my time. So I'm hoping that, I can get some good business from these Zillow leads and kind of feel it out. There was 2 lead gen systems that we purchased last year that just did not work at all. And we put about $10,000 into that. So the Zillow will be a little bit cheaper, but hopefully it will be a good return on the investment for my lender and myself.
okay? Jay,
Well, what I got to say is, I'm just looking at the calendar. We're early in the year. We have 320 days left in this year. We're only into this year 45 days. So there's a lot of time left in this year. And all the calls I'm on from the James Shaw and Morning Mojo and a lot about mindset and stuff like that. I just tell everybody to calm down. We got 320 days left in this year. But I have Jean Henning on my team, and going back to Lisa spelling out what she would need from, or what she wants to do on your team. Jean came to us and said she wants to do 19 transactions a year. And if she does well, the 19 came from $100,000 a year. So James did it on a spreadsheet. Jean, you need to do 19 transactions. That lady has one a week. One a week. Right now we're working on like 4 or 5 of her listings. So my goal is, even tomorrow, is to get some of these actually pumped out. I mean, I'm kind of like a director of sales too. What are you doing, Gene? Let's do it, Gene. Let's go, Gene. But my biggest challenge right now, Scott, with all my notes in there, I have 10 to 15 sellers that are waiting for spring. So there's more houses on the market for them to choose to make their next move. I have my listing appointment this morning. Did the comparable analysis. Absolutely happy. I'd be happy to sell my house. Where am I going to go? I came back here, did her a search while everybody was doing lunch, sent it, got nothing. There's nothing that she can, I was down to 6, then filtered those out because she told me specifically down to 4, down to 3, and none of them were good fits. It's like, you're right, Sue, we're gonna have to wait a little bit. So as soon as there's more inventory for move up or move down buyers, that's gonna be great. But that's what made me think there's still 320 days left in this year. So still positive.
Gotta send a golden letter for their, for that house that they want. That's
Yeah,
how I
some-
got my most recent listing.
Several different areas. She'll either go to a condo or a single family. She's
Start with one, then we don't get a bite, you go to the other.
She doesn't want anybody,
Yeah.
close, there's a couple specific things, but nothing major. She's not demanding. She's very easygoing, but. Yeah,
Cool. My main focus is it's continuing to be like mastering this director of sales role. So our pipeline is getting very clean, but it's got work to do. So it's going through that pipeline, and then also the getting into our Clarity Now software, where it's like getting the number tracking going in there, making it functional, making it make sense. Like those are my main things I gotta get figured out by next mastermind. And I'll let you guys know. I do want, like I said, I do want to do it in person if possible, and like I'll offsite, make it more fun. So be on the lookout for some details on that. And then we'll see you guys soon. I'm off to my next Zoom. Zoom.
Thank you.
Yep, take care.